Okay, then. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bora, Om, Manoj, Jigar, Infrared. Knowledge is power. I remember you from yesterday. Captain Unlucky, Navam, JD. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, all of you. And I welcome all of you to the second day of this JavaScript Essentials, where we're going to move ahead from yesterday. So, yesterday we learned the introduction to JavaScript. We understood what exactly JavaScript is, how it works, why it was created, and how basically it fares in today's world, what it does, right? So what it does in the front end, what it does in the back end, we understood everything. And we also started writing it a little bit. So we learned actually how to create variables and how to print few stuff, right? And how to perform this string concatenation with variables. So that's what we learned yesterday. Okay, today we are going to be moving ahead and we'll be starting with something called as conditions, which is a very important aspect of any programming language, not only JavaScript. Then we'll move ahead to one more very important aspect, that will be loop. And if we get time today, we'll be also moving ahead to something called as an array, which is again one of the most important topics to learn if you are in web development or basically anywhere. But yeah, in web development, it is one of the most important things because the whole data setup, the whole data sharing is based on that. Okay, so good evening, guys. Good evening once again, and I hope you all are excited. So with that, let's go ahead and let's start today's session. Okay, so then yesterday we started with variables and we learned how to print stuff. Now today I'm going to be removing it. Okay, and before we move ahead today, I'll be showing you one more thing. Yes, don't worry. I'll show you about block. Once we start with conditions and loops, I'll show you about what exactly is block. I'll tell you the difference between let and var as well. So don't worry at all. I have got everything planned. Don't worry. Okay. So let's go, guys. So now first thing, before we move ahead with anything, let me show you one more thing. Now see, yesterday we learned that you can write JavaScript in your HTML page, and for that you have to go in the body, okay, and after all your HTML elements at the end you can write a script tag, and then here you can write all your JavaScript code. So this approach is fine, it's perfect, no problems at all. But this approach causes some issue in maintaining the code when your HTML code is big as well as your JavaScript code is also going to become big. Because what happens a lot of times is, see, right now this page is very small, we are doing nothing. But when you create an actual site, in that case you might be having thousands of lines of HTML code and also thousands of lines of JavaScript code. That means your page, your coding page will be very big, and it will be very hard to maintain because you have to go up and down continuously. If you want to do some changes in HTML, you have to go up. If you want to do some changes in JavaScript, you have to come down. Readability of the code will become very bad. Okay, that's why there is also a way by which you can write JavaScript separately. Instead of writing JavaScript in the same page as your HTML page, you can write it separately so that your code is perfectly, what do you say, separated, and it's not a mess. You don't have to go up and down. Basically, if you want to work with JavaScript, you can go to the other page. If you want to work with HTML, you can come back to your HTML page. It will be very sorted and easy to maintain. So first of all, let's see how to do that. So for that, it's very simple. What you have to do is you have to create one more page. Okay, and that page name can be again anything. Give a good name. So let me call it first, because my HTML page also is first. So first, but in this case you're not going to give it an extension of HTML, you're going to give it an extension of JS. Okay, because this will be a page or this will be a file which will be completely dedicated to JS. You can only write JavaScript here, you cannot write HTML. There is a way by which you can also put some HTML, but mostly JavaScript. It's a JS page. But now the thing is, previously you were writing JavaScript directly here. So the JavaScript knew that I was working for the first.html page. But now you're writing your JS separately, you're writing your HTML separately. And as I said yesterday, that on the web, JS works with HTML. So now how will this JS understand that I'm working with this HTML page? So for that, you have to link both of them. So whenever you create a separate JS file, you have to link your JS file with your HTML file so that it can work. So let's go and let's link it. Hi Jitendra, hi Suraj. Let's go, guys, and let's link it. And to link it, again, same tag, script, and inside script there is an attribute called as src, which stands for source, and in there you can just pass the file path of your JS file. So in this case, they are in the same folder. So I can simply pass the file name like this. And that's it. That's all. And this way of writing JavaScript is what you call as external JavaScript. So yesterday what we wrote, that is called as internal JavaScript, because you are writing JavaScript inside the HTML page. Today what you're doing is something called as external JavaScript. But don't worry, because it is still same. You're still writing JavaScript. It will still work perfectly. It's just you're maintaining your files in a good way now. Okay. So that's it. Let's again save it, and then let me again run it in the browser. So let me get a browser window for you from here. Here we go. And fine. And let me see, you can see the HTML output, but we have to confirm that if our JavaScript is working or not. So let's go to console. Okay. And there, go in the JS page and write a basic console.log. Console.log. Hello, I am working. Just to confirm if this JS is working or not. So save it. And here we go. See that, everyone? I got hello, I'm working. That means my JS and HTML file are properly connected and both of them are working. Is it cleared? In JS, you sometimes differ. What is the meaning of differ? I'll tell you that. Don't worry. I'll tell you the meaning of async can differ both in some time. Once you're like, will be able to understand all those. So don't worry. In some time, I'll also tell you that. So is it necessary to link in body section? No knowledge, no knowledge. Yesterday we also learned it that it's not mandatory that you do it here, but it's a good practice to do it at the end in the body. You can also do it in the head, but in that case, there are a few tweaks that you also have to do. Okay, so it's a good practice to do it here. And why we should do it here, I explained that yesterday. So you guys just watch that yesterday's session, you'll understand why we should always do it at the end of the body. Cleared? So that's it, guys. Simple. Write your script, src, and the file name you want to link, and here we go. You can simply write all your JS now. Exactly same. Okay, so now same thing. Yesterday we created variables, right? So let's create one more variable. Let's call it name equals, or let's call it first name equals, just to confirm that our JS is perfectly working. This is what we did yesterday as well, right? We learned something called as templating by using backticks. So I can write the name is dollar curly braces and the variable name. Right, guys? This is what we learned. So it is still working. The name is Saurabh. So JS is still fine. So there is no difference between internal and external. It's just one you write in the HTML page, one you write outside the HTML page. That's it. Cool, everyone? Okay. So let's move ahead with today's stuff, and let's go ahead and talk about something called as conditions. Okay. So first of all, guys, I'm not talking about JavaScript. So it's for everyone. Okay. For basic programming knowledge. This is a basic programming knowledge. Okay. So what exactly is a condition? So a condition in a programming language is nothing but it's like a comparison based on which something can happen. For example, let's talk about in reality. Okay. What is a condition? A condition is nothing but something based on which something else will happen. For example, I tell you, if you come at 6:30, I'll take your lecture, right? So me taking the lecture is your task, but there is a condition only if you come at 6:30. So that's what a condition is. A comparison or a statement based on which something else is dependent. So only if that thing satisfies, we can do that task. That's what a condition means. And in the real world, we talk about conditions all the day. If you do this, I'll do that. So if you do this, so wherever you apply if in real world, that's what a condition is. So in programming also, there are a lot of times where you want to perform a lot of tasks based on some situations, based on some conditions. For example, let me give you a real-time example. When you go online and you perform sign up, right? Or you perform login, sorry, not sign up, login. So you write your username, you write your password. If it is correct, it lets you go to the other page. If it is not correct, it blocks you. That means somewhere inside it's checking if your username password is correct, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll block you. So somewhere something conditional checking is happening where it is checking if your username and password is correct or not. So something like this is one example, but there are a lot of things that goes on inside a site, inside a program. So let's learn how to start writing conditions in a programming language. Okay. So just like in real world, to say or to write a particular condition, we always use a statement called as if. Like if you join 6:30, I'll take your lecture. So we always use a if we ever want to mention a condition. Just like that in programming also, there is a keyword called as if. It helps you to write a condition. Okay. So let me do one thing. Let's say this is a very, very important task. Very, very important task that is basically hello guys, something like that. It's a very, very important task. Right now, happening by default. Fine, because it's just a normal code. But let's say I want to do this. I have a variable. Let's say the variable name is num. And let's say I give it a value of 45. Okay. So I have something like this. Cool. Now I want to check that only if num is less than 50, then perform this. Otherwise, don't perform it. I want to do something like this. Let's say it's a task that I want to implement in my site. Only if my num is less than 50, then only perform this. Otherwise, don't perform it. So to do that, you have to use a condition now. Okay. So basically, we're going to be using if keyword. But before we move ahead, we also have to learn one very important thing to write conditions. That is nothing but some conditional operators. These are the operators which help you in writing. Just give me a second, guys. Okay. Sorry, I was just drinking some water. So basically, conditional operators are the operators which help you in writing proper conditions. So let me mention those quickly. So you have operators like this, normal basic mathematical operators like this: less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, something like this. Okay, let me just cut this up. Yep. So something like this you have in JavaScript. Something like this. Why my VS Code is misbehaving? It's JavaScript, right? Yeah, it's correct. So these are few examples: less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, not equal to, equal to, equal to. These are few examples of the operators that we will use with if to write proper conditions. So let's go ahead and let's write few conditions. Can I call ambulance? No need. It was just a cough. Thank you so much, Jay. Okay, let's move ahead, guys. So let's write with the help of these things. Okay. So to write a condition, you have to use your if keyword, and then there you can write the variable that you want to check. So in this case, I want to use num. Let me just put it down here. So if num, what I want to check, if num is less than 50, that means only if num's value is less than 50, then only this line of code should execute. So if num is less than 50, that is how you write a condition. If keyword, then round brackets or parenthesis, and inside that you can write your condition, and then open a block. This is what you call a block in a programming language. Curly braces. This is what you call as a block. And then put your code inside that block. And that's how you write a very, very simple conditional statement. How to get input from user? Don't worry, I'll show you in some time. Okay, so guys, now it's like this. If this condition becomes true, then execute this block. Otherwise, simply skip the block. So if this condition is true, execute this block. If this condition is not true, simply ignore this block and move ahead. So let's say outside somewhere I have some general code like this. Console.log. Let me just write general code. Now let me show you that. Let me show you. So right now, guys, my num's value is 45. You tell me if our condition is correct or not. Come on, everyone. I want answer from you. Tell me, everyone. Is my condition true or false? Is my condition is going to give me true or false? Everyone, come on quickly. Come on, I'm waiting for answers. Let's see. It's very easy, right? Come on, guys. True or false? Everyone. Exactly. Even for one statement, we have to put block, sir. It's not mandatory, Ananya. It's just like a personal preference. For one statement, it's not mandatory to put block, but internally it's block only. So I personally always prefer to put block. It's my personal preference. It completely depends on you, because see, if I don't put block, then I have to keep in mind two things: that for single statement I'm not putting block, for multiple statement I'm putting block. So it's like I'll always put block. That's my personal preference. So basically it's true, right? Amazing. So we should get hello guys. Let's see. And here we go. We get hello guys, and we also get general code, that is basically outside, which is not depending on any condition. Now let me do this. Let me change the condition to num greater than 50. And in this case, we are sure that it's going to be false, because num is 45 and 45 is not greater than 50. So in this case, it's definitely false. And here we go. We only get general code, because what's happening? It is checking the condition, and condition is going false. And if it is going false, this block is getting skipped, and we are simply moving ahead to this general code that is normally available. So that's what conditions can do for you. Okay, you can execute some code based on a condition or a comparison. See guys, either call it a condition or you can also call it a comparison. You're comparing two things, right? You're comparing num with 50, you're comparing 45 with 50. So either call it a condition or call it a comparison. So a condition is nothing but a comparison of two or more things, based on which if you want to do something. That's what simple logic of condition is. Okay, so that's how you write a if statement. But now there is one more thing. In this case, what happened guys is, if your condition is true, this is executed. If it is false, this is skipped. What if I want to do something like this? If condition is true, do this, and if condition is false, then do something else. So for that, just like I told you, do something else. So there is one more keyword available called as else, which you should always write with if. You should never write anything between your if and else. If and else go hand in hand. Always remember that. Okay. Is it considered a good style if we write without spaces? Yeah, Harkirat, it's fine. If you can manage it, it's completely fine to write without spaces. While learning, we always put spaces so that it's more clear to see at. But actually, yes, you can completely avoid writing spaces. You can completely avoid spaces. It's fine. So now then, here also let me just put console.log by guys, something like that. So now what will happen? See, this is generic code, normal. I will execute because I'm not depending on any condition. But what about these two? This block will only execute if the condition is true, and this block will only execute if the condition is false. That's what will happen here. Okay, so let's see now. In this case, we should get by guys. I'm keeping this so that it's understandable that it's outside. It will always be executed. Is that clear to everyone? And if the condition is true, like for example, less than, in that case, see hello guys. Now I can also put this less than equal to 45. This basically means num is either less than 45 or equal to 45. Both the conditions are correct. So in this case, tell me num is 45. Is 45 less than 45? No, but it is equal to 45. So that's fine. 45 is less than or equal to 45. So that's correct. Here we go. So if you ever want to put a else, it should be just after your if block. It should be just. You cannot put else without a if. There is no else without a if. Always remember that, guys. Okay. You always have a if. Then only you have a else. There is no else without if. Okay. So never do that. Cool. And don't write anything in between this. Otherwise, the code will get misfunctioned. That's how you write it, guys. That's a basic if and else. So now you know how to write or how to perform something based on a condition and also on a wrong condition. But what if you have multiple conditions? What if you have multiple conditions to check? Is indentation matter in JavaScript? No, Sumit. No, indentation does not hold any value here. It is only for the decoration purpose. Even if I do this, it does not matter. It's still the same code. See, still same. So indentation does not matter here. It's just indentations make our code look good. I think it matters a lot in Python. Here it does not matter because here we have proper blocks everywhere. So that's why indentation does not matter. Okay, यहाँ पर else भी लगेगा. हाँ, यहाँ पर else भी लगेगा. नहीं, यहाँ पे else क्यों लगेगा? यहाँ पे बस कंडीशन ट्रू हो रही ना. ये लेस देन और इक्वल टू है. मतलब दोनों में से कोई भी ट्रू तो ट्रू. Simple. Less than or equal to. Okay. Now then, guys, let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. I was talking about what if I have multiple conditions. And for that, let me do this. Let me create an example for you. Let's say, for example, I have something called as a grade. Now, guys, please focus on this example. This example will clear out all the doubts regarding conditions. Okay, so please focus. So, not grade, let's call it percentage. Okay, let's call it percentage. And let's say it is 65, something like that. Okay, cool. Now, I want to do something like this. If percentage is greater than 75, I want to print O grade. If percentage is greater than 70, I want to print A grade. If percentage is greater than 60, I want to print B grade. That means now I have multiple conditions and only one of that can be true. So how to write it? Very simple. You have to do something like this. Now let me just remove this. Now you have understood it. So let me just remove that. And now see, if, what are my conditions? If percentage is greater than 75, or let's say greater than equal to 75. That means if it is 75 or greater, I want to put O grade. Correct? Now, focus. Everyone, please focus. I can also do this. I can put multiple if blocks like this. Percentage is greater than 60. But there is an issue with this approach, and that you have to understand. And the issue is, see, what is the issue in this approach? Focus. If my, let's say my percentage is 85 or 80, right? Now my code starts executing. It goes in this. Fine, check. If percentage is greater than equal to 75, yes, 80 is definitely greater than equal to 75. Fine, print O grade. And then it will also move ahead and execute this condition. But we know that percentage can be only one. There is no need of executing this condition. So when you write two different ifs, it becomes two conditions like this. See now what is happening. You get O grade, you also get A grade. That's a problem. So this is one way of checking multiple conditions, but it's wrong because in this both are becoming true. I want only one condition to become true. So in that case, what you have to do is you have to use a keyword called as else if. And then here you can write percentage greater than 60. This is what you call as a multiple if statement. So whenever you want to check multiple conditions, but only one of them is going to be true, so you can always write multiple if statement. So that's what you do. If condition number one, block. Else if condition number two, and then block. So that's how you write a simple, because if you write two different ifs, it becomes two different blocks. In this case, it's a continuous statement. Okay, if you write if and then a separate if, that's two different pieces of code and both will be executed, and that's a wrong way. So basically you write, this is what you call as multiple if, and you use this whenever you have multiple conditions to check but only one of them is going to be true. So let's complete it quickly. So A grade, just like that. One more else if, percentage greater than, let's say 50, not 540, sorry, 50, console.log B grade. And for now, so that we don't have a lot of time, I can also put a simple else at the end. Console.log, please do your study, something like that. Fine, because you're failed basically. Okay, so now what's happening in this case, guys? See, my percent is 80, right? So check, is percentage greater than equal to 75? Yes, 80 is greater than equal to 75. So it will go on O grade and then it will skip all the other blocks because it knows it's a multiple condition statement. And if one of them, if one of the conditions is becoming true, all the other conditions are simply ignored. That's why it is called as a multiple if statement. Now, in this case, if this was 65, something like this. Now check, is 65 greater than equal to 75? No. So if the condition is false, then it goes to the next condition and it will check this. If this becomes true, execute this and skip all the others. So that's how multiple if condition works. If one of it is true, Execute that and skip all the others. If the first is false, go to next. If that is false, go to next. If that is false, go to next. And if all of the conditions become false, simply go to else. That's how it works. So let's check it. Let's check it for 65, guys. Here we go. You get A grade. Let's check it for 80, 85. Here we go. O grade. But there is one issue with this code till now. There is one more issue with this code. So guys, now focus. What if, what if I move my this condition on top and move this condition on bottom? Now what will happen? Will it still work? Just I replaced or moved the condition. So now my first condition if percentage greater than equal to 60, A grade, and also my condition is if percentage is greater than equal to 75, O grade. Correct? Now according to basic logic, it's 85. So we should get O grade. But because of the multiple if, see what happens here. You get A grade. Because your first condition is getting satisfied, and once one condition is satisfied, it will never go and check all the other conditions. It will skip all of them, and that's the issue. But according to basic logic, it should be O grade because this condition should become true. But because of this condition becoming true, it's not going ahead. That means our multiple if is working, but if I change the order, it doesn't work properly. That means it is still depending on order, and this is what we call as a logical error. This is a logical error. So in conditions, you might face this thing a lot of times, and you don't always have to maintain sequences, right? Because see, what happens is sometimes you're working on a project, you write three conditions. Let's say after 2 months, you add three more conditions. Let's say after 2, 3 months, you add few more conditions. Every time, then you have to check the order if this is the case. So what if I want to make sure that it's always correct no matter where I add the condition? And for that, you need something called as logical operators that you basically learned maybe in your 9th standard, 10th standard, or maybe in 11th and 12th, right? Something called as and, something called as or, and something called as not. These are the three logical operators that you have: and, or, and not. Remember that, guys? Remember that truth table stuff that you have learned? Truth table. True and true is true. False and true is false. False or false is false, and true or false is true. Remember that, everyone? So for and, both should be true, then only it becomes true. And for or, anyone is true, complete statement becomes true. So that's how logical operators work, right? For and, both should be true. If one of them is false, complete statement becomes false. And for or, anyone is true, everything is true. So now let's use this. So basically, we can use logical operators here to write multiple conditions at once, like this. See now. So I can do this. If percentage is greater than 60, and at the same time, percentage is less than 75. Let me mention greater than equal to 60 and less than 75. Then only A grade. That means if this is true and this is true, then only this block should be executed. And same for this. And also percentage is less than equal to 100, because I can also go beyond 100, right? And that's incorrect. And also here, and percentage is less than 60. Now this code is logically correct, and no matter in which order you put it, it will work now. Because now, see, so now in this case, let's say 85. Fine, check it. 85 greater than equal to 60, yes, correct, true. And 85 less than 75, false. So true and false become completely false, and it will move ahead. And now here, is 85 greater than equal to 75? Yes, correct, true. And if 85 is less than 100, yes, true. So true and true, true, and then execute this block. And now save it, and here we go. You get O grade perfectly. And if I move to, let's say, 61, you should get A grade. If I, let's say, move to 55, we should get B grade. And if I go below 50, like 43, please do your study. Very, very simple. Is that clear, guys? What is the meaning of green line? It's a comment. Akkig, or it's a comment. A comment basically means that that particular line is ignored by the compiler. Because see, if I don't comment it, see, you can see a lot of errors going on. Program is not understanding what's happening. Because these are few things that is not code, but I want this to you guys to see. I want the people who read this file to see, but I don't want that those lines to be executed as code. I want it to be ignored, but for reading purpose it should be there, so we comment it. And commenting in VS Code is done by just select the lines you want to comment and just press control slash and it will be commented. This technique is also used for commenting the code that you don't want to use. So let's say there is few lines of code that you don't want to use right now, you want to use after some time, you can also keep it commented so that it's ignored while execution. Is it cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared with multiple if statement? This is what you call as multiple if, or some people also call it else if, or some people also call it if else if, or some people also call it if else if ladder. It's the same thing. Multiple if else if, whatever you call it, it's fine. But I personally call it multiple if because that's how I learned it. Multiple if stands for multiple conditions. Every if is basically for a condition. That's what you should remember. Remember, guys, when you write two different ifs, it basically means two different blocks, and both of them will be executed. It's like two different set of code, right? If you write something like this, it's simply like two different set of codes. So remember that. This is nothing. This is just one if, two if. These are just two ifs. That's all. Okay. Can we use? Yes, yes, definitely you can use switch. Definitely. Sir, can you say an example of interview question in JS? Yes. People ask in interviews, people basically ask, what is the difference between let and var? So that's what I'm going to explain in some time. Just give me 10 more minutes. Once you understand the basics, I can tell you the difference between let and var, because that is one of the most important questions that people ask. People also ask, what is the difference between let and const? People also ask, like, okay, what are the new updates that you got in ES6? That is basically the new version of JavaScript. It's not very new because it was launched in 2015. But yes, let keyword, const keyword, all of this were introduced in ES6. Before that, there was only var. So let and const were introduced in ES6, a new version of JavaScript that was launched back in 2015. That's very old now. Okay, so now guys, let's move ahead and let's see one more way of writing conditional statement. So now I don't want to remove this code. Now guys, understand. Kalpesh, don't spam the chat, buddy. I'll show you how to take input. Give me some time. Right. First of all, let's complete this and then we'll move ahead to that as well. Don't worry. Okay. So let's go, guys. Now see, I don't want to remove this code, but I also don't want to execute this code. That's where commenting comes ahead. So I can again select all of this and just press control slash and comment. Yes, yes, I know, Utpal, but it's very important for all the people to understand, right? So guys, let's see one more way and the last way of writing conditional statements in JavaScript and almost in all the programming languages. That is switch statement. Now, switch statement is just like multiple if. Switch statement is just like multiple if, but it is basically used for single checks. You don't use it for ranges. Like, see here, you're checking range. If percentage is greater than equal to 60 and less than 75. So you're checking if your percentage lies between 60 to 75. You're checking a range. Correct. Switch case is not used for checking ranges. It is basically used for single checks. For example, let's say I have one more num equals 1. Correct. Or let's say I call it status. Status equals 1. So now, first of all, how to write a switch statement? Very easy. Switch. Wow. Switch. Pass the variable that you want to check. Status. That's my variable. Why it is importing this? Let me call it something else because it's not. I have some few extensions installed. That's why. So let's call it status class status. Let's call it class status. Just giving some name to the variable. Change my extensions for a second. Okay. So let me call it class status. Just a simple variable. And then what you can do is go inside and start writing something called as cases. Case is just like a if. So case 1. That means if the value of class status is 1, execute this block of code. That's how it works. Just like that, you can also have case 20. That basically means if the value of this variable is 20, execute this block. So that's how the syntax works, guys. Switch your variable, switch, then your variable, and then case the value that you want to check. So if the value of class status is 1, remember guys, never think that it's numbering. Some people think that it's numbering because everywhere it's mentioned like 1, 2, 3, 4. Never think that it's numbering. Okay, it's like if class status is 1, do this. If class status is 20, do this. Let me just write console.log. Let's write good status. So if status is 1, it's a good status. Okay, let me once more write console.log. Let me call this as bad status, something like that. I Saurabh switches like multiple. Yes, exactly. It's like multiple off on button. Exactly. And then you can write as many cases as you want, guys. And at the end, you also have something called as default, which is exactly like else. If all the cases go wrong, go to the default. Console.log. Simply like let's say anything, for example, no status, something like that. Okay. Now in this case, let's see what's the output, because see, you tell me guys, my class status is having a value of 1. So when switch starts, it will check which case is correct. Is case 1 correct? Yes, because my value is 1. So can it be string instead of? Yes, yes, Ankit, totally fine. It can be string, but it should be a single value. That's what is important. So now in this case, guys, its class status is 1, so it will work for 1. If it is, let's say 20, it will work for this case. And if it is, let's say something like 29, it will work for this case. Now let's check it. Let's make it 1 and let's see. Save it. And here we go. You get good status, but you also get bad status and no status. Why is that happening? It's very important to understand, because by default, whatever case is correct, by default in switch case, whatever case is correct, understand guys, this is a very important interview question and it's a trick question because a lot of people don't learn it or ignore it basically because it's very simple. So basically, from in a switch case, whatever case is correct, from there all the cases are executed. And this technique or this phenomena is called as fallout or breakthrough in switch statement. So if in future someone asks you what is a fallout in switch statement, you can tell them in a switch case, if a case is correct, from there all the other cases are executed as well. But only if you want to avoid fallout, for that you can use something called as break, which will simply break the switch case, stop it on the spot, stop it. So now everywhere just put break. No need to put break on default because after that there is nothing. So even if you put break, doesn't matter. So in default, no need to put break. So now guys, it's perfect. So now if case 1 is correct, execute, and this break will simply break the switch, stop it on the spot, no execution again. So now let's see. So now you get good status, because after good status, it executes break and switch is broken. You cannot move ahead now. And if I make it 20, that status, and if I make something like 78, no status. So guys, remember that fallout in switch statement. That's what it is called. Maybe you can also read about it somewhere. So yep. So what is fallout? If you don't put break from the case that is correct, from there all the other cases are executed. Yes, a fallout in switch statement is whatever case executes, if that does not have break, the next case is also executed by default, even if it is not correct. That's what it is, fallout in switch statement. Simple. How to use a condition? For conditions, you should go for if. That's what I'm telling you. For conditions, because switch is not for conditions. Switch is only for single checks. Check if class status is 1 or 20 or default or any other case. That's why switch case is here. So if you want to check conditions or ranges or less than, greater than, For that only you have if statement. And if you want to check single changes, go for switch, because switch is much more faster than if. So for single checks, avoid multiple ifs, go for switch cases. But if you want to do range checks, you always have to go for exactly fall through. I was playing fallout. I said fall out and breakthrough. It's fall through. Exactly, Raghavendra. So exactly that is the word. Okay, fall through in switch case. Yes, yes, yes. For strings, yes, you can go ahead like this. Let's say I put A here. So now you can just check like this. Class A, case A, sorry, case B, like this. So now class status value is A. So in this case A will execute status. If I change it to B, match status. Is it clear, Ankit? So character or string doesn't matter. All of them will work. But don't put range conditions, less than, greater than, all that stuff here. Okay, everyone. So that's how switch case works. And don't worry, in our project, we are going to be using few things of this. So guys, are we all cleared with conditional statements? Can we use the case for ranges? No, I think you should always prefer if conditions for ranges, because that's what it is built for. Switch case is built for switchings, for changes, this or this or this, not for ranges. It's built like that. Okay, Ahmed, all good, guys? Everyone, let's move ahead. Let's move ahead to a very important topic now. Yes, day to day, it supports all the types. Yes. Now, guys, we are done with conditional statements. Okay, so now we know how conditions work. Okay, perfectly. We know they are simply used for checking something, and based on that, moving ahead and doing something. That's how condition work, and it's very important aspect. And now, depending on the things, we'll use them. Now, the next topic for today is again very important, and a lot of people find it complicated, but it's not that complicated if you understand it properly. So, the next topic is something called as loops. Very easy, guys. Don't worry. It is very easy. Else is showing error. Naran, I have to see your code, buddy, to understand why the else is showing error. I cannot uh, I cannot see your code, right? So I cannot tell you what exactly is happening in your code. So I have to see it. What is hoisting? I'll explain you that. Thank you for giving me that topic, Utpal. Don't worry. I'll explain what exactly is hoisting. Don't worry about that. It's very simple concept, but it's very interesting thing. And it's also asked in interviews. So I'll definitely tell you. Don't worry. So guys, let's move ahead to something called as loops. Now, loop again is not a JS concept. It is a very famous concept. It's available in all of the programming languages and all of the scripting languages. So what exactly is a loop? So guys, a loop in programming is nothing but something that helps your code to execute again and again. So let's say if you have some set of code, let's say if you have 3 to 4 lines of code that you want to execute 20 times, 30 times. So rather than writing it 20 times, you can use something called as a loop to execute it 20 times. So that's what a loop is. So if you ever have some code and you want to execute it multiple times, you can use loop so that you don't have to write that code multiple times. That's where a loop comes. For example, just for very basic example, let's say this. I want to do this, let's say 10 times or maybe 3 times in this case. Just giving you an example. Right now it's hello, but let's say it's a very important NASA code, something like that. Okay. And I want to do it 300 times, but in this case, let's just see 3 times. Okay. So you have to write it 3 times. So what if this code was 100 lines? That means you have to write 300 lines. What if this code was 500 lines? You have to write 1500 lines of code. That will be very big and hard to manage. Okay. So wherever you feel that you have a code and you want to write it or execute it multiple times, so you don't have to write it again and again. And for that purpose, you can use something called as a loop. A loop is something that can help you to execute your code multiple times again and again. Okay. So let me first of all show you an example without like real loops. Let me just give you an example how a loop looks like. Okay, everyone. So please focus. Syntax wise, code wise, a loop is very similar to a conditional statements. So let me show you guys. Please focus. Whoever is saying that loop is hard, don't worry. In 5 minutes, loop will become easy. I'll make sure I'll make sure that it happens. In 5 minutes, loop will become easy. Focus. So as I said, coding wise, it's quite similar to a conditional statement. So let's see how to write a conditional statement, guys. If some condition and then a block and then code. That's how you write a condition. So what happens, guys? Program starts executing. If condition is true, it comes inside, executes the code, goes outside. Perfect. But if condition is false, it skips the block and directly goes outside. That's how a if works. Now, in the same case, if this was a loop, how that will work? See, let's say there's a keyword called as loop, just for now. Loop always also has a condition, kind of. Not always, but almost always, it will have a condition. For basics, guys, for basics only. And then again, code. See, you can see syntactically, it's kind of similar to a if condition. But how is it different? Let's see that. So now in this case, program executes, it will again come in the loop and check the condition. If it is false, skip the block. Just like if. If the condition is false, skip the block. Here also, if the condition is false, skip the block. But if the condition is true, come inside, execute the code. Now it is not a if statement, it's a loop. So loops by default behavior is to go back up. So if the condition is true, execute the code, but don't go outside. Go back up to the condition, please. And again, if the condition is true, come inside, execute the code, and again go back up. Again, if the condition is true, come inside, execute the code, again go back up. A loop will always go back up, always. That's what is called as a loop. It will always go back to the condition, always. So, condition correct, come inside, execute the code, go back up. That means it will always go back up. So if you want to stop a loop, you have to make sure that a condition becomes false at some point of time. Because if the condition never becomes false, the loop will keep running. And that kind of loop is what you call as an infinite loop. A loop that never stops is what you call as an infinite loop. Don't worry, we'll also see that. But that kind of loop will hang our browser. That's why I'm not going to show you a live demo of that. But yes, that's how a loop works. That's it. That's it, guys. That's all. Simple. Is it clear, everyone? That's it. So condition true, come inside, execute the code, and simply move back up. That's a default behavior. We don't do anything. That's a default behavior of a loop. That's why if you ever want to execute some code multiple times, just put it inside the loop. That's all. Okay. Can you break the loop? Yes, Naveen. Completely possible. I'll show you how to do that. So guys, let's go ahead and let's start writing some loop examples. Okay. Now there are a lot of loops in JavaScript. There are a lot of different kind of loops, but there are three basic loops. Yes, I'll also explain for each, Suraj, don't worry. There are three basic loops that everyone needs to know, no matter in which programming language you are, no matter which programming language are you learning. There are three basic loops that you should know, because based on this only all the other loops are formed. So the three basic loops, or the three keywords that you use to create loops, are while, do while, and for. For now, let's use the first way of writing a loop by using while. Okay. So let's see, guys. And it's exactly same like what we wrote, just a syntactical example. So let's, first of all, we know that we want to write a condition. And to write a condition, we need a variable, because without data, we cannot write a condition. So let's go. Let's call it let num equals 10, something like that. Okay. And now then, while, let's write num is equal to 10, something like that. Or for now, let's just say num less than 10, something like that. Cool. Now, guys, let's also go here in and just put a console.log hello. Or let's say num is equal to 5, nothing like that. Okay. Now, guys, let's check it. Let's check it. Okay. Let's simply check it. My num initially is 5. Correct. Perfect. Is 5 less than 10? Yes. It will come inside, execute the code. It will go back up. Again, it will check. Is num less than 10? Yes. Num is still 5. Is 5 less than 10? Yes. Come inside, execute the code. Again, go back up. Check num. Num is still 5. Is 5 less than 10? Yes, correct. That means this loop is kind of what we are avoiding. It's the infinite loop. It will hang my browser. Let me show you that. I hope it doesn't hang my computer, but let me show you that. See that, guys? See that? Hello. It's printing so many times very fast. Can you see that? It's almost 6,000. See, my output is gone. My browser is loading now. See that? So that's what infinite loops can do if they are not managed properly. See, it's almost reached 20,000. So fast. But now I have to close it. I hope it closes. I hope. Yep, it's gone. Good. So that's how a loop works, guys. That's how a basic loop works. But now, at some point of time, I want to make sure that this condition becomes wrong. Because if this condition doesn't become wrong, my loop will be infinite. So for that, there are multiple ways. All the guys writing increment, yes, that's correct. But we should not directly go to increment. We should understand that increment is a part of that. It's not a mandatory stuff. Okay. So let's go. Like incrementing, when I say that means I plus plus. It's a part of doing loop. It's not a mandatory thing. Okay. It's just a way of doing it. So now, guys, I can just go ahead and change num equals 10. Now what will happen? It was Akigor, it was not countdown. It was basically printing hello few thousand times, around 20,000, 30,000 times. Now see, guys, I do this. We also take the path of this page again. Now see this. Now my output is only hello one time. Why? Let's read that code again. While num is less than 10. So initially num is 5, correct. Is 5 less than 10? Yes. Come inside console.log hello. So it prints hello. And then we do this. Num equals 10. And then it goes back up. And now it checks because we made num 10. So now it checks, is 10 less than 10? No, false. Loop end. So that's how it works, guys. But then it's a problem, right? Because in this case, it's only executing one time. So what if I want to execute it on my will, that I want to execute it 5 times, 10 times, 4 times, 8 times? So for that, we have to learn few techniques. And that is, we have to count. So the number of times we want the loop to run is basically the number of time it will take from here to reach here, because it is 5, and the condition will become false if num becomes equal to 10, because condition is only correct if num is less than 10. So yep, we can make use of that. And for that, we can just do this. Num equals to whatever the value of num is plus 1. That's what you can do. Now see, focus again, guys. Always read the code. Don't see the output directly. First output should come in your mind, then on the page. So let's see. Num equals 5. Perfect. 5 less than 10. Correct. Print hello. Now then, num equals num, that was 5, plus 1, that is 6. And again store it in num. That means the new value of num is what? 6. Fine, then go back up. Check. 6 is less than 10. Correct. Again come inside. Print hello. Now 6 plus 1, 7. Go up. 7 less than 10. Correct. 8 less than 10. Correct. 9 less than 10. Correct. And then 10 less than 10. No. So the loop will stop. That means after a few times, the loop will stop. And see, hello is printed 5 times. That 5, whoever is thinking it's a countdown, guys, it's not a countdown. It's simply the number of times this thing is getting printed. So now it's printing 5 times because I'm going from 5 till 10. I can also start it from 1. And see, now it's printing 9 times because 1 till 9. You can also do this. Num is less than equal to 10. That means now don't go till less than 10, go till equal to 10. So now it should go for 10 times. See that? Hello is getting printed 10 times. That's how simply a loop works. And now, instead of this console.log hello, you can put whatever you want here. Whatever you want. Any code that you want to execute 10 times. For example, let's say I don't want to print hello. What if I simply want to print my num? So if I print my num, I can see what is the value of num at every point of time. Let's see. Save it. See now? Initially it was 1. So it prints 1. Then num plus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. It becomes 2. Then next time it prints 2. Then 3. Then 4. Then 5. Then 6. Then 7. Then 8. Then 9. Then 10. Simple. Is it clear, everyone? That's how it works. And if you ever want to do this, that means we are, see guys, what is the meaning of this? By this, we are only trying to increment or to increase my num's value by 1. By this code, I'm simply doing this, that I'm increasing my num's value by 1. So this is one of the most used things in any programming language. That's why all the programming languages also provide you an operator for this. So if you want to increment any number by 1, don't write this big line. You can just do this. Num plus plus. It is exactly similar to this. Whatever the value of num is, it will change it by 1, increase it by 1. That's it. So rather than writing this, you can do this. That's it. Same output. But again, if you ever want to increment your number by 2, then you cannot use it because it will always increment by 1. But you can always go for this. So guys, nothing is wrong. It's totally up to you. Okay. See, in this case, it will increment by 2. 1, then 3, then 5, then 7, then 9. Correct? Incremented by 2. Is it clear, guys? Everyone? This plus plus will always increment by 1. So use it only when you want to increment by 1. If you want to do it by 2 or 3 or 4, you have to write your own basic logic. So everyone, are we cleared? Sir, difference between num plus plus and plus plus num. Yes, I'll tell you that. Sir, is it possible to, is it possible? Yes, yes, yes. In Python, I think, yes, there also it works, right? That operator is also there. Yes, it works. Yes, yes. Okay. And guys, yes, one more technique is there. That is this one. Num plus equal to 1, which basically at the end is this only. It's just a shorthand operator given to you. So either you do this or you do this. It's exactly same. Okay. This and this are exactly same. If you ever read this somewhere, that basically means this is what is happening. That means, see, plus equal to means, first of all, take this num and take this one, add them, and then assign it to the left side. That is basically num. That is basically this. Take num, take one, add them, and put it in num. So it's exactly same. So either you do this, or you do this, or you do this. All of them are kind of same. Okay. Now someone asked me the difference between num plus plus and plus plus num. So let me tell you the difference quickly. Okay. Let me tell you the difference quickly. And guys, one more thing. You can also decrement. Okay. Not only increment. Always remember, not only increment. Plus plus num means, I'll tell you, don't worry in just a second. Guys, see, you can also do this. Start your num at 10, write the condition num is greater than equal to 1. That means now my num is starting at 10 and I'm going till 1. That means I'm going down. And to go down, I cannot do plus plus because it will go up. So now I can do minus minus. It is called as a decrement operator. Now you'll see you get 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just like that, you can also do this if you want. Num equals num minus 1. Same thing. Or num minus equal to 1. Same thing. Exactly same. Cleared? So you can also go reverse. It's totally up to you what you're doing. Okay. Now then, let me give you the example of what exactly is the difference between plus plus num and num plus plus. So guys, everyone please focus. Please focus, everyone. Please focus. So let's say I have a variable called as a is equal to 0. Guys, please focus, everyone. And I also have a variable called as b is equal to 0. Okay. And I do this. See, a equals b plus plus. And I print both of them. Now see, everyone. Plus plus is an operator which increases any value by 1. So now my a's value initially is 0 and my b's value is also initially 0. Correct? So now what I'm doing here is I'm doing a equal to b plus plus. Now when you put plus plus after the operand or after your variable, that is what you call as post increment. Okay. So in post increment, what happens is whatever operation you're performing, operation happens first and then the increment happens. Operation happens first and then the increment happens. So now let me show you. Let me do this. I'm printing both of them, A and B. See now. Got the infinite loop. I removed this, right? So sorry. So sorry. So sorry. I removed that increment decrement logic, right, from the loop. So basically I got the infinite loop. First of all, let me comment this out as well because I don't want it as of now. So let me delete it. Cool, guys. Now focus, everyone. Please focus. See now, my A's value is 0 and my B's value is 1, even though I copied B plus plus in A. So what happened? Initially, A and B were 0. In this, as this was post increment, first the value of B, that is 0, goes in A. So that's why A remains 0. And then B plus plus happens and B becomes 1. That's why you got 0 and 1. But in the same case, if I do plus plus B in a pre-increment fashion, this is what we call as pre-increment. In this, the increment of B will happen first and then the assignment or the operation will happen. So now B is 0. So first B plus plus B will happen. So B becomes 1. And then value of B is copied in A. So A also becomes 1. So now A and B both should be 1. Cleared? So that's the difference between post and pre. So in a pre-increment, the increment happen first and then whatever operation is, that will happen. And in post increment, the operation happen first and then the increment happens. Is it clear, guys? The difference between post and pre-increment for whoever who was asking. All good, guys? Everyone? Difference between post and pre? Simple example. Okay, then amazing. Now then, let's move ahead to our next loop, okay, which is exactly similar to while, but a little different. So let's write that. So the next loop is going to be do while. Is this hoisting change value of A? No, 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 Utpal. Hoisting is different thing in JavaScript. Hoisting is, let me just give you a definition of what exactly is hoisting. JavaScript understand. See, in JavaScript, you can create variables anywhere and use them anywhere, right? In all the other programming languages, you cannot do it. JavaScript allows you to create variables anywhere at any point of time, but you can use it anywhere else as well. What JavaScript does is no matter where you create your variables and function definitions, it will always move them on top internally. Even though you don't write it, it will always move them on top. That's what hoisting means. So first of all, don't confuse it with anything else. So I'll show you what hoisting is. Don't worry. I just gave you an example so that you don't confuse it with anything else. Okay, cool. Fine then. Let's move ahead. Okay, guys. So the next loop, that is do while. So first of all, let me write the syntax. So do, then your block of code, and then here at the end you write while, and here goes your condition. So once again explain A plus plus and plus plus A. Okay, I'll do that for everyone who is asking. I'll do that. Wait, guys, just putting a halt on do while for a second. See everyone, Rushab, everyone who was asking this question. Sorry, not Rushab. Tech guide. Focus, guys. See. So I have a variable called as A. Let's say I give it a 1 value. And I have a variable called as B. I also give it 1. Okay. Now I perform an operation like A equals B. Now tell me, whoever is asking, tell me, in this, will there be any difference in A and B? I just said A should have B's value. A and B both are 1. So even if I copy B's value in A, doesn't matter. It's still 1. Now then, if I do B plus plus, that means I'm incrementing B by 1. Okay, I'm incrementing B by 1. So according to basic logic, okay, I'm thinking that, okay, fine, B is 1. After increment, it will become 2. And then it will pass to A. So A will also become 2. But that does not happen. And yeah, let me comment this. Otherwise, it will also create some issues. See that. 1 and 2. Because in this case, what happened is it's a post increment. That means I will happen at the end. So first, whatever operation you're performing, that will happen. And then B will increment. So A is 1, B is 1. You're saying A equals to B plus plus. So plus plus waits. First, the value of B is copied in A. That is, okay, let me also do this. Let me make it 0. 0. See now. See that? 1 and 2. Why? Because B's value was 1, that is copied to A. So A is again 1, but B then incremented and became 2. So 1 and 2. But if you do this before the b, now this is pre-increment, and in a pre-increment statement, increment happens first, and then whatever operation is there, that will happen. So now this is the operation, but as soon as JavaScript finds out that okay, there is a pre-increment, let's perform that first. So b's value is 1, it will make it 2 first, so b will become 2, and then the value of b, that is now 2, will be transferred to a as well. So now both of them should be 2. Cleared, guys? So in pre-increment, increment happened first and then assignment. In post-increment, assignment happened first. Assignment means applying the value or passing the value to a. That happened in post-increment. That happened first and then the increment. Is it clear, guys? Everyone? All set now? Perfect. So now then, let's move ahead to the next loop, that is going to be do while loop. Okay. So now, guys, it's very, very simple. Okay. It is just like while, but there are a few differences that we need to talk about. So first of all, let me write some code, or let me write the exact same thing that I wrote for while. Okay. Let's write a variable called as num, which is initially 1 again, and just do console.log num here, and then num equals num plus 1, or you can simply do num plus plus. That's it. That's also fine now. My condition will be num is less than equal 10. Now, guys, focus here. Let's go ahead. First, let's simply execute. So now in while loop, what happens, guys? In a while loop, it works like this. When the while loop starts, it first of all checks the condition and then goes inside and execute the statement. Okay, that's how while loop works. But in the case of do while, it's a little different, because you can see there is no while on the top. So what it does is initially num equal to 1. Now for do while, it doesn't matter what is num, who is num, and what is the value of num. Do means simply go ahead and execute the code. Don't worry about the condition, just go and execute the code. That's what do means. Do it. So do execute this code. So whatever is the value of num, it will be printed. So num 1, and then num plus plus. So num becomes 2. And then at the end, condition is checked. So fine, 2 is less than 10. Yes. Again go to do. Execute it. Again plus plus. Again go to do. Execute it. Plus plus. Check the condition. Again do. So just like that, it works. So simple. 1, then num plus plus, it becomes 2, and then 2 is less than 10. Correct. Go ahead. Console.log num. Again, it will print 2 plus plus, it will become 3. 3 less than 10. Again, go on top, print 3 plus plus becomes 4. That's how it works. Simple. Same thing. So right now you'll ask, then what is the difference? It's still same. So the difference is, what if I make it 18? Now I know straight away the condition is wrong, because my condition is num is less than 10 or equal to 10, but my num is 18. I know straight away the condition is wrong, but still, because it's do while and it's not checking condition at the start, it executes at least once, and that's why you get 18. Is it cleared, everyone? So that's how do while works. So in while, if the condition is correct, then only it goes inside. In do while, first it does not check condition. It lets you execute the statement and then moves ahead. That's why in do while, even if the condition is wrong, your do while will work at least once. And in while, if the condition is wrong, it will not even work once. Cleared? Math tricks. What happened to you, math tricks? बस थक गए क्या आज के लिए? अरे रे रे, बहुत हो गया. Okay, so that's why while loop is also called as entry control loop, because it checks the condition in the start, and do while loop is also called as exit control loop, because it checks condition at the end. Cleared? That's the difference between while and do while. And just guys, yes I know, हमने almost 1 hour 10 minutes कर लिए. अब आपको लास्ट में एटलीस्ट डिफरेंस बता के जाता हूं लेट और वेर का. ठीक है, फॉर लूप और एरे और ऑब्जेक्ट हम कल करेंगे, टेंशन मत लो. So now I'll at least tell you the difference between let and var, because it is a very, very important question that is asked in interviews. And guys, please wait, because at the end, I'm also going to be announcing the quiz winner from yesterday. Okay. I'm also going to be announcing the quiz winner from yesterday. So wait. Okay, last. I'm not moving ahead to for loop. I'm just giving you the difference between let and var. So now, guys, please understand the difference between let and var is let is block scoped and var is what you call as a function scoped. That is the difference between let and var. Let is block scoped and var is function scoped. Now, what does this mean? That's why it was very important to understand what is block first. So we know block is nothing but something like this. Okay, so let me show you. Let's create a simple loop, guys. Please focus, everyone. Please focus. Okay, please focus. Let's create a variable. So while, let me create a variable here inside this block, or I can do something else as well. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let me write a if here. Okay, let me write a if here, and inside this if, let me write something like anything. Num is less than equal to 10. Let me also create a num. Guys, please focus. That's giving you the difference. So let num equals 2. So the condition is correct, right? You can all on the spot see condition is right. Num is 2 and my condition is num is less than 10. Fine. Now see, if I create a variable using var here, like this var b equals 30. That means if the condition is correct, I am creating a variable called as b equals 30. And now I'm trying to use that variable outside that if block. Is it visible? Let's see that. Is it visible? Save it. And here we go. You can see that the value of b is also accessible outside, even though I have created it inside a if block. But in the same case, if I don't use var and if I use a let here, now see, b is not defined because now outside I cannot access b. I can only access b inside the block where it is created. That's it. So that's a difference between let and var. Let is block scope. That means in whatever block you create it, in that block only it will be accessible, no matter which block it is, a loop block, a if block, a function block. Var is function scoped. Okay, so in whatever function you create it, it will be accessible throughout the function, no matter in which block you create it. So that is the difference, guys. Is it clear, everyone? So that's why let is very important and good, because in all the other programming languages, variables are by default block scoped only. Only in JavaScript, it was always like globally available in the function. So that was one issue that is solved by let, because in C++, it's not allowed. If you create a variable inside a loop or inside a if or inside a block, you cannot access it outside. But in JS, it was possible. So that was a problem. Is it cleared? So that's let and var. Sir, please explain log. Log is a function, Kalpesh. So in some days you'll also understand function. Tomorrow only I'll let you know what a function is. So don't worry. Okay. That's why you should start avoiding var and start using let. Start avoiding var and start using let. Exactly. Exactly. Because let is an upgrade of var. In 2015, they introduced let, but they have still not removed it because a lot of people in the world are still using it, right? A lot of projects are still dependent on var. That's why they have not removed it yet. But you should start using let. You should always use let. Var is also fine. It will not cause any error, but then you have to maintain a lot of things. Okay, guys. So cleared, everyone? Remember, let is block scoped. Var is function scoped. That's it. Cleared, everyone? Which loop are used mostly for do while? I think for. So tomorrow we'll be learning for loop first. So for is, I think, one of the most widely used loops. Okay, guys. So yep. Now time to announce the winner of yesterday's quiz. And before that, before announcing the winner of yesterday's quiz, I would like to tell you that you should please fill your attendance, because if you at least 3 days attendance is required for the certificate. So please don't forget to fill your attendance. And whoever is not registered for the course yet, the registration link is in the chat. Please go ahead and register yourself, because First case is you have to register. Without registration, you will not get what you say, the certificate. So first thing is registration, and then second thing is you should have at least a 3-day attendance. That's why registration. Local and global variable. No, we don't call var global because there is still one case. As I said, var is function scoped. So for that, we also have to understand function. So wait for some more time. Wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow, when I introduce functions to you guys, it will be completely cleared what is function scoped. Okay, don't worry. Is vanilla JavaScript same thing? Yes, it's same. Vanilla JavaScript means core JavaScript, basic JavaScript. Okay, that's fine. So now, guys, it's the time to announce the winner of the quiz. So let me get this PPT and let me just do this. And I hope you can see this guy Loston is the winner of the quiz, and he'll be getting the 500 rupees coupon from Amazon. Okay, and then we got Sukriti at second and Akansha at third. So this guy. So today also the quiz will be live in some time on the Telegram group. So don't forget, guys, don't forget to go ahead and join the Telegram group. Okay, and for any queries that you have on Telegram, we have Prasad available there. You can directly message him on Telegram, and he will sort any issues out for you related to certificates, related to registrations, related to admissions, related to anything. Okay, and guys, the next quiz will be live in some moment. Please go ahead and just join it and play it and become the like just stop it so that you can also tomorrow your name will be at this place on the winners place, and you'll be getting the 500 rupees Amazon coupon as well. Okay, okay, now yeah, Telegram channel link, I think it's in the description. So just go below the video. In the description, there is a Telegram link. Join groups. You can see that link, right? Join groups and connect with Let's Upgrade. Just click on that and be directly forwarded or basically be directly redirected to the Telegram. Okay. Sukriti, won't we get anything? I don't think we have planned for that, but you did very good. You came second. So today, try it again. You still have 5 days, right? So try it again today and definitely you'll get it. Definitely. Okay. Project. So today we don't have a lot of time. I can see a lot of people are like tired today. So don't worry. Project we're gonna make on 5th day. So tomorrow I'll give you the options of the project. Don't worry. Tomorrow I'll give you the option of the 4 projects. Definitely. First thing, remind me tomorrow the first thing, I will give you the option. And also, guys, as you know that this is only essentials. Okay, we are only learning very basics of JavaScript. So if you want to learn more about JavaScript or learn JavaScript in detail, and not only JavaScript, we have a complete full stack web development program where we do everything from HTML, CSS, JavaScript, backend, frontend, Node.js, React, Angular, all the things that you might have heard of in web development. We do everything with 15 plus projects and one very very important capstone project as well, which you'll be learning how to make things live and all that. Okay, and there are projects like Instagram clone, Netflix clone, all of that. So you'll be basically learning by building all the stuff. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, Node, everything is in detail, plus 15 plus very very good projects. So if you're interested in that, you can just go ahead to letsupgrade.in, check out our courses, and if you're interested, you can join it. So there will be me and trainers like me there who will be teaching you every day live. It's always live. And in every 2 weeks, you also get a mentoring session, a personal mentoring session from any of the trainers. Okay, we'll be joining live to you one on one. You can ask any doubts, anything that you want to ask related to the projects, related to the course. Okay, so if you're interested, you can go check them out. Otherwise, keep enjoying the essentials. I'll be here for the next 3 days, and after that I'm also starting with the HTML and CSS essential. Okay, so I hope you'll be there as well. So guys, tomorrow I will give you the 4 options of the project, so be there. And guys, today I think we reached a peak of 450. So tomorrow I think we can try for 600, right? So please also tell all your friends and people who want to learn JavaScript to come join us tomorrow so that we can reach 600 and so that they can also learn everything. So tomorrow's agenda will be for loop, array, and object. According to me, tomorrow's session is the most important, guys. uh, Moderator, can you please also give Telegram link in the chat as well so that they can also join from there, because I think the description link is not working. So guys, according to me, tomorrow's session is the most important session for all. Okay, so tomorrow please join. It is actually more important than the project because it's array and object, two of the most important things that you should know if you want to become a JavaScript based web developer. Very, very important stuff. Arrays and objects. Okay. So tomorrow's session is the most important. Please be there. I'll be seeing you at 6:30, and I hope you all will be there. Please join the quiz. Play it. Let's see who is the winner for tomorrow. And congratulations, Lot. I think the name was Lotus, right? Let me just. I think I closed the PPT. No issues. Sukriti, try again. You came second. Today you might come first. So thank you so much, guys. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this session. Okay. Please let me in the chat, and I'll see all of you tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. Have a great night. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.